In the headlines, DSS gives NNPC oil marketers ultimatum to end fuel queues nationwide. Troops kill 9 bandits, rescue kidnapped victims in Kaduna clearance operation. House of Representatives asks CBN to halt cash withdrawal limits policy as Emefiele says no going back. And on the international scene, world's longest serving president begins 6th term in Equatorial Guinea. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Now the news in full. The Department of State Services has given the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and oil marketers a 48-hour ultimatum to make premium motor spirit known as petrol available for Nigerians. DSS spokesman Peter Afunanya announced the directive while briefing journalists at the headquarters of the secret police in Abuja after over a 3-hour closed-door meeting with stakeholders in the petroleum sector. He said failure to comply, the DSS will activate its operations across the country. According to Afunanya, the challenge of the fuel scarcity has assumed a dimension that is detrimental to the security of the country. He said during the meeting, the NNPC agreed that there is enough product that will serve Nigerians during and after the Yuletide. Next on our story, we have the troops of the Nigerian army who have killed 9 bandits during a fierce gun battle in some locations in Giwa local government area of Kaduna State. The troops, according to the Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruan, also cleared some camps and rescued a dozen women and children who were kidnapped and held hostage by the bandits inside the forest. In a statement, the commissioner said the troops cleared a bandit camp at a river line around Rafin Sarki and neutralized 5 bandits in the vicinity, while many others fled. In another leg of the fierce encounter, the troops and special forces cleared a hideout around Galadimawa forest, where 4 bandits were engaged and neutralized. More than a dozen kidnapped women and children abandoned by their captors were rescued by the troops in the course of the operation. Moving on is the Rivers State government, who has asked security agencies to unravel what really happened in the reported attack on Senator Lee Maibi. The Senate government also said some politicians are staging high-level melodrama to cover up tracks. Gunmen had on Thursday morning attacked the residence of Maiba, the chairman of the People's Democratic Party Presidential Campaign Council in Rivers State. Reacting to the Maiba's comments suggesting that his attackers were sent by the Rivers State government, the Rivers State Commissioner of Police, Okon Effiong, has ordered an investigation into the attack. The spokesperson of the command, Grace Irenge Koko, who confirmed the attack. And next on the legislative, we have the House of Representatives, who has summoned the central bank governor, Godwin Emefiele, to brief members on the recent cash withdrawal policy it introduced to shore up the value of the naira. It also urged him to suspend the implementation of the new policy slated to commence on January 9, 2023, pending compliance with the provisions of the Act establishing the bank. The summons is sequel to a motion sponsored by Honorable Magaji Da'u Aliyu on Thursday at plenary. Members, while contributing to the debate, expressed fears that the new policy by the CBN, which limits daily cash withdrawal of 20,000 naira daily, will have adverse effects on local small-scale businesses, especially at a time Nigerians are still yet to come to terms with the redesigned policy to same Central Bank of Nigeria. The Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, who presided over the plenary, wrote in favor of the majority after calling for a voice vote.
It's good to have cashless policy, But we seem to be borrowing ideas or policies from other countries where they have already gone far ahead of us. We are comparing ourselves with the British, with the England, the Americans. They are far ahead of us. We will reach there one day. But these are kind of policies that disturb people who voted for us. The issue of this that I read the motion on, it bothers whoever is sitting in this place, because most of them are from rural areas. Everything is being done in naira and cash, and somebody will wake up, it's like he owns this country, and make a policy that will start tomorrow. No consultation. People are forgetting that 80 or 90% of the people are not in rural areas. So we must do something to save the situation.
I can't simply understand how we'll just wake up one day and introduce this very draconian approach to businesses, giving Nigerians a maximum of 1 month's notice to adjust their belt. Like Dau argued, sir, more than 70% of our communities in this country do not have banking system.
I'm passionate about it. It has nothing to do with CBN. Yeah. We should do cashless, and I support it.
Okay.
My mother was affected. A 4-year-old woman was kidnapped, and they requested
I know your mother very well. I'm shocked to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that.
What the central bank is about to do is to steer inflation further into our economy. The issue of security or cash movement across the country, they are not related in any way. Security, you control it with intelligence. Mr. Speaker, elsewhere where these policies have been tried, 500 rupees and 1,000 rupees were demonetized.
The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, has ruled out the possibility of reversing the ongoing implementation of cashless policy. He spoke on the matter while fielding questions from State House reporters after briefing President Muhammadu Buhari on happenings in the CBN and the Nigerian economy in Daura, Katsina State. Emefiele said a lot of electronic channels had been put in place in 10 years since cashless policy was launched in 2012 to aid people in conducting banking and financial service transactions in Nigeria. He said the cashless policy was stepped down on a number of occasions to fully prepare for the implementation of the policy and deepen the payment system infrastructure in Nigeria.
Well, the Senate of the Federal Republic's National Assembly, they are legislative arm of the government, and from time to time, we brief them about what is happening, about our policies, and I'm aware that they have asked for some briefings, and we will brief them. But I think it's important for me to say that the cashless policy started in 2012, okay? But at almost 3 to 4 occasions, we've had to step down the policy because we felt that there is a need for us to prepare ourselves and deepen our payment system infrastructure in Nigeria. Between 2012 and now 2022, almost or about 10 years, we believe that a lot of electronic channels have been put in place that would aid people in conducting banking and financial services transactions in Nigeria.
The Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, has admitted security agencies and the military constantly come under to compromise during elections through various financial inducements. But he is urging Nigerians to anchor their trust in the military as they strive to maintain neutrality in accordance with the directives of President Muhammadu Buhari. He spoke on Thursday while briefing newsmen at State House Abuja on the strides made by the military in the fight against insurgency, terrorism, and banditry, stressing that personnel were being trained to follow the codified rules of engagement before, during, and after the elections. Kende Amodu has the reports.
Over 300,000 persons have been rescued from the hands of abductors since 2016, while refugees who fled the northeast owing to the insurgency have started to return. These are facts that the Chief of Defense Staff is pushing out, and he should know, since he has been a theater commander in the troubled region at the head of the military's offensive against insurgents and terrorists.
Over 362 bandits have been neutralized, recovered over 156 AK-47 rifles, and a great number of cache of ammunition. And then, of course, we've been able to also strangulate the logistic supply route for the criminals, and of course averted several community clashes, restored socio-economic activities in the troubled areas, and arrested several criminal elements, including those who deal in drugs, as well as arms and ammunition.
The defense chief admits that there still exists internal sabotage within armed forces, but asserts that saboteurs have not succeeded in derailing the military and security agencies from their mission of protecting the sovereignty of the country. It is for this reason he debunks a recent allegation by an international news medium which accused the military of carrying out over 10,000 illegal abortions on female victims of the war in the Northeast.
What the allusions they made is news to me. It never occurred. I never saw anything like that. Both from the detention center in Giwa project, then to malaria cantonment where I lived, where we have 7 Div Hospital. That was our major hospital for the treatment of our personnel and their families, and especially the wounded. That again, we had unfettered access by all the members of the media.
Another issue generating debate is the role of the military in the 2023 elections. The CDS is firm in his belief that the armed forces will remain non-partisan.
The police, of course, is the lead in this, but we believe that we'll be at the periphery to give assistance as requested by INEC.
The CDS also revisited the alleged Lekki Tollgate massacre in 2020, insisting that the Nigerian military is not interested in killing its own people, but rather more concerned in protecting the citizens. This is why he is urging the media industry in Nigeria to keep the public informed with balanced coverage. From State House, Abuja, Kende Amodu, Trust TV News.
World Leading Policy Institute and Think Tank Forum, Chatham House, has invited the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, to discuss his plans for Nigerians ahead of the February 25, 2023 presidential elections. Obi, former governor of Anambra State, is expected to attend the event slated for January 16, 2023 in London, the United Kingdom. The event is part of a series of events and outputs examining Nigeria's 2023 elections. On December 5, 2020, Obi's counterpart in the All Progressive Congress, Bola Tinubu, made an appearance at the Chatham House in London, where he revealed some of his plans for major sectors like defense, economy, education, and technology. You're watching news update on Trust TV. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Coming up after the break, reasons why prices of plank and building materials will remain high. Details on this and more after the break. Stay with us.
Residents of the Federal Capital Territory are hereby alerted to the activities of scavengers, also known as Babambula, which security agencies have identified as a high-level security threat to not only the residents but also to our infrastructure as they perpetrate petty stealing and acts of vandalism on public utilities. More so, they are drug peddlers, serve as spies to terrorist elements, and are ready-made tools for the public disturbances during which they attack people with dangerous weapons. The Federal Capital Territory Administration therefore therefore reiterates that the ban on scavengers, aka Babambula, operating within the Federal Capital City is still in force. These miscreants are advised to stay off the streets of the Federal Capital City for their own good, as defaulters will be apprehended and prosecuted, including parents of underage children involved in these practices. Relevant agencies are carrying out enforcement of this ban as stipulated. Be law-abiding always. Let's together build the FCT of our dreams. Management announcer.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, it is a news update on Trust TV. Here is a recap of our top stories. DSS gives NNPC oil marketers ultimatum to end fuel queues nationwide. And troops kill 9 bandits who rescued kidnapped victims in Kaduna clearance operations. Moving on to more stories, the public debates have continued over accountability for the federal allocation meant for local government areas across the country. This comes after President Muhammadu Buhari accused governors of misappropriation funds allocated to local government areas in their states. Ibrahim Ismail speaks to residents of Gombe local government area on what should be done to ensure accountability of funds meant for the local governments. The reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari has accused Nigerian governors of diverting funds meant for local government areas. There are 774 local government councils across Nigeria. We are right now at the entrance of the Gombe local government secretariat. We'll speak to Nigerians on what they feel about this development and what should be done to ensure that funds budgeted for local government areas is given to them.
I am calling Buhari to investigate thoroughly, because we know our governors are corrupt, most of them. So it's better for him to set another committee to investigate how they have diverted the fund. It's not good to call the names of the governors, but I'm advising to do it behind closed door, so that they can get sanity.
Do you think covering it up is the best?
It's the best, because it's not good to call their names. It's not good to call their names, but he has to call them personally, and later on to probably, if they fail to do it, then we masses, we need to see their names in national dailies.
And it's not a new thing actually, because it's been something that has been happening for ages in Nigeria. Well, it's sad and it's saddening to know that funds that meant for local governments are being diverted by the state governments, which is very wrong. In the first place, I feel local governments should have full autonomy. For every fund that is being allocated to them from the federal government, they should have full autonomy of use of their funds. So that's what I feel actually.
It is better for the people to think twice before they elect the governors, especially in the 2023 general election, because the president cannot accuse the governor without any fact. since majority of the governors are in the same party with the president. So I think it is not the allegation, but it is a fact.
The hope of Nigerians is to have a strong government at the grassroots level that will cater for their needs. But this is not going to be possible except if funds budgeted for local councils across the country are being given to them. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Leaders of the Nigerian Plank Sellers and Building Materials Markets Association have sounded the alarm over the rising cost of transportation, frequent harassment and extortion of their members by suspected touts along major highways. The group, during a consultative meeting in Ibadan, called on the federal government to address the situation, which, according to them, contributed to the hike in prices of building materials. The report.
The wood and metal is a crucial component of the building and construction section of the Nigerian economy. Members of the Plank and Building Material Association have warned of a rise in the cost of materials due to the illegal activities of toll collectors on the major highways.
We plank sellers, if the forestry people, if they want to monitor their wood, they should go to sawmill where they are slicing wood to monitor their activity of slicing of the wood. We have been facing a lot of challenges for so many years back. We don't have the reason why the people that are selling the plank and we are moving from the road, we cannot have a free movement from the third boys. I can call them the third boys because I'm not seeing the reason why somebody will be moving from a federal road. Somebody will be carrying cutlass, be carrying gun, will be carrying bottle, and stopping somebody on the road, asking you have to pay 50,000, you have to pay 40,000, asking them for what reason. They will start beating all our people down. This thing is supposed to be stopped.
We have been having a lot of problems on the road when we are coming to bring our goods to our destination. So many places we have been paying money. Even the tout, they are stopping us. That's why the federal government enforcement agency on the road.
Problem on the road. First, those people, they call them consultants from government. They extort money from us. Soldiers, police, they stop our people convey wood from any state.
When we are carrying our plant from one place to another, we always have a difficulties on the road. But now that is why we create this association to let everything move forward. Because our people who carry load from another state, by going to another place, they can collect less than 100,000 from their hand. And they don't want that one this time around.
We are appealing to government to help us inform everybody that we are doing a legitimate business. So we should not be having a problem on the road again.
Members of the Plank and Building Material Association cautioned the government against ignoring their demands, as doing so could lead to the cost of building becoming prohibitive.
As part of efforts to promote a gender-inclusive and gender-responsive structure as provided by the National Gender Policy, the Ministry of Interior and the Nigerian Police Force seek more support to address the plight of women. This is in line with drumming support for the global campaign of 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. The report.
Ability and adoption of the national gender policy across all key ministries, departments and agencies in Nigeria is necessary in eradicating gender-based violence, especially the security agencies who are the first point of call for victims and survivors. But the Ministry of Women Affairs wants the justice system to take its course, even as 36 states domesticated the Violence Against Persons Act, with only 34 states domesticating the Child Rights Acts.
In Nigeria, gender inequality is widespread due to patriarchy, imbalance in socioeconomic opportunities, cultural and religious factors, and also inadequate enabling legal and policy frameworks. 2018 reports indicates that 1 in 3 of all Nigerian women and girls aged 15 to 49 has been a victim of one form of gender-based violence. And 1 in every 5 have experienced physical violence in Nigeria.
Minister of Interior Rauf Aregbesola says security personnel at the international border posts are on the lookout to arrest human traffickers, as his ministry is working towards creation of special career path for women across different parastatals of the ministry.
We want to create special line, special career path for women in all our services. At each time they are considering headship of the agencies, there must be a woman to be considered.
Similarly, the Inspector General of Police says the fight against gender-based violence birthed the creation of gender desks across force headquarters level, states level, and the DPO levels, noting that stringent punishment of perpetrators will serve as deterrence.
One, the issue of stigmatization. Parents don't like reporting cases, or even when they report, they like to draw and settle matters. Women don't like to come and give evidence against their husbands or boyfriends or relations. Some of the questions you will be asked by the interrogators are so difficult for you to answer, because it's so a lot of issues. When you move to the court, it's another place where you will be frustrated because of a lot of advantages that can be taken. Where is the doctor's report? Where is that one? Who Assad must prove? And a lot of issues. And that is why we can charge 10 cases to court today. For the next 2 years, you will not get one conviction.
Gender-based violence is a violation of fundamental rights and constitutes gender discrimination with far-reaching effects on physical and emotional well-being. Hence, there is need for strategies by individuals and organizations around the world to call for the prevention and elimination of the act. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And moving on to the foreign scene, Guinea's President Teodora Obiang Nguema Mbasogo, who holds the world record for the time in power for a living head of state, excluding monarchs, has been sworn in for a 6th 7-year term. Members of the international community, including the U.S. government, have raised concerns over the legitimacy of the landslide victory of the president's PDGE party, which claimed 94.9% of the votes. Members of the government of the Central African country reacted to these doubts. In power since 1979, Obiang was re-elected in the Central Africa oil country, which he rose with an iron fist and in the face of a muzzled opposition. With more than 43 years at the helm, Obiang holds the record for longest serving head of state outside of a monarchy. And with that, we have come to the end of Trust TV News Update. Follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Thanks for watching.